Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Kaido versus Luffy, Kid, and Law. Big Mom versus Luffy and Kid. King versus Zoro and Killer.
See, I wasn't too far off. I even got some of them right.
Ulti versus Nami.
Usopp is gonna fight page 1 in my opinion.
Overall, I think I did a pretty good job.
Next up, we have Who's Who versus Denjiro. Next up, we have Sasaki versus Kawamatsu. Next up, we have Big Mom Pirates versus the Heart Pirates and the Kid Pirates. Pirate on pirate action, of course, when, you know.
Alright, some of them were pretty way off, but a lot has changed. Some people have fallen off of a cliff, some people have arrived, and I'm sure the landscape of this war is bound to change again, but I do feel like now is the perfect time to make my final Wano matchup predictions and how exactly these battles will play out, because it's definitely not certain which side will be the winning side. Let's start off with the big one, and that is of course Big Mom and Kaido versus the Supernova. Right now up there is Kid, Killer, Law, Luffy, Zoro, and Killer. What? What did I say? Kid, Killer, Law, Zoro, Luffy. I had it. I just said Killer twice. But yeah, up there right now is Luffy, Zoro, Law, Kid, and Killer. And do I think this is enough to take down 2 Yonko? No, it doesn't make sense that these 5 should be able to take down Big Mom and Kaido. It's not quite enough battle power to take down both of them, but I do think it's enough to do a good amount of damage. Luffy, I think, is the one that will do the most damage to Kaido and defeat him as well. And I do mean like actually defeat him, like in the final fight where everybody is kind of exhausted and everybody is all beat up. It's gonna be Luffy stepping up to the plate and actually winning the fight against Kaido. He doesn't have to kill Kaido, so that does still open the door to some of these other theories, but as far as the one to take down Kaido, I think that will be Luffy. Especially reading the last chapter, I think is just very clear, like this is still the story of One Piece and Luffy is the MC and he always takes down the big bad. We saw last chapter with first off Yamato mentioning Ace and like the fate of 20 years, somebody coming to take down Kaido. I think that was talking about Luffy being the fated one to come 20 years later, take down Kaido and carrying on Ace's will. But the bigger moment to me was the one with Kinemon, where Kinemon one last time asked Luffy to take down Kaido, and Luffy says yes because the people of Wano are my friends. How many times have we seen Luffy say that and then go on to take down the big bad? Even recently in Dressrosa, you had a very similar moment with Luffy and Rebecca where Luffy said, I'm gonna help you take down Doflamingo because you are my friend. This has been the pattern in the entire story where Luffy likes some people and takes on their burden and defeats the big bad because he thinks they are his friends. And also Luffy always defeats the big bad. If there were a better place for somebody else to take down the big bad, that would have been in Dressrosa with Law taking down Doflamingo, and that didn't happen. It was Luffy in the end that won. So at the end of the day, I do think Luffy will be the one to defeat Kaido, but of course again that doesn't mean he kills Kaido or that he doesn't get any help at all. This will clearly be a team battle with the other 4 Supernova here, and Luffy's no stranger to this at this point. He doesn't really get that many 1v1s anymore, especially post time skip. Zoro in particular, I think his main fight will be against Kaido as well. Although I think Luffy is the one to ultimately defeat Kaido, I think Zoro will definitely prove his strength. Zoro doesn't have to full on win against Kaido here to really showcase what he's capable of. I think he's gonna show off a lot of what he improved on with his armament hockey and Enma, hopefully some training flashbacks with Mihawk and we learn more about his learning of hockey, maybe Conqueror's hockey. If you want him to open his eyes, maybe now's the time to do it too. But most importantly, Zoro will showcase his strength and what his true strength really is. He's definitely gonna be able to wound Kaido and open up that old wound that Kaido says no other samurai could do anymore. And on top of that, probably add a third slash because of Santoryu. That's something my guy Randy Choi always brings up. So yeah, just because I think Luffy is gonna be the one to defeat Kaido doesn't mean Zoro's not gonna accomplish a lot in this fight. This is Kaido we're talking about, the world's strongest creature, a person that a lot of people, even people like Zoro and Killer, refer to as the strongest pirate and the strongest person in the world. Luffy and Zoro tag teaming here to take him down is already quite a big feat. And as far as Zoro killing Kaido, that is still a possibility, but if it happens, I think it will be against an almost unconscious Kaido. Like by the end of this battle, everybody should be depleted and very much beat up and exhausted. So maybe after Luffy defeats Kaido, he's kind of worn out and he can't really do anything, and either Kaido goes into this berserk unconscious like mode, almost like what Katakuri did in Whole Cake Island, but this time it's like he's completely unconscious and just like his pure rage and will is like willing him to get up again, or like Big Mom should still be around and maybe she manipulates him somehow, and then Luffy's like exhausted and Zoro is the one that has one last wind and kills Kaido that way. That's the only way I could really see it happening, but it's still very much possible. So I'm not throwing this idea out the window, but I do think Luffy is the one to really defeat Kaido. Another person who has a lot of vendetta against Kaido in this fight is Kid. Kid definitely has more of a reason to go after Kaido than Big Mom, and that's what he's been after as well. And I do think he will showcase some of his powers and being able to damage a Yonko in this battle. And at first I thought that should come against Kaido to really showcase a strong feat for Kid, but it might also come against Big Mom, and that won't be a small feat either. But why exactly have I shifted my opinion of Kid fighting Kaido to more so Kid fighting Big Mom? Well, like first off, somebody has to take care of Big Mom. She's still up there, she can't be neglected. And honestly, it might be better for Kid to really showcase his strength fighting another Yonko while Luffy and Zoro are really focusing on Kaido. Second of all, there is a history between those two. Kid did invade her territory before, injured a Sweet Commander, and then also stole something. So maybe once these two start clashing, we could get some more information about what Kid's goals were. I do think we need to explore a lot more of Kid's story, but it probably won't come in Wano, and it'll likely come post Wano when we meet up with Shanks and everything, but I'll save that for another video. But yeah, between Kid and Big Mom, there is also a history, so that's another reason for them to fight. And then finally, this was something I mentioned in my last video as well, but I think Killer might die here. Act 3 should be coming to a close soon, and if we're following this pattern of Act 1 is 15 chapters and then we get a 1 chapter break, Act 2 is 30 chapters and we get a 2 chapter break, and with that pattern, Act 3 will be 45 chapters. That would mean Act 3 is gonna end in 2 chapters at chapter 1002, and the tragedy has yet to happen. And for those of you that are wondering why there needs to be a tragedy, Wano is set up like a kabuki play where there's 5 acts, and usually in the 3rd act at the climax there's usually a tragedy. And that tragedy has yet to happen, and realistically Act 3 should be ending soon even if we're not following the pattern. Act 4 is usually the big war and all the action, and it looks like we're starting that very soon. So what exactly could this tragedy be? Kinemon was a good guess, but he's fine. Law has been a popular guess, but he just kind of popped up randomly recently. I think if Law were supposed to die here, there would have been a lot more setup. So the one that could make sense, I think, would be Killer. Now I saw in the comments in my last video, some people don't like this idea, telling me I'm sleeping on Killer a little bit. And maybe I am. If Killer actually manages to do something in this battle, I'll fully eat my words. I just don't see how he's gonna be effective against Kaido and Big Mom. The other 4 I'm sure could figure something out, but Killer, he's got no devil fruit. He really hasn't showcased anything very impressive in terms of hockey. So maybe his death here is the tragedy of Act 3, and originally I thought Kaido would be the one to do it, giving more motivation for Kid, but it could also be Big Mom. They do have a history as well, and maybe she's like getting mad that she's kind of getting neglected and Kaido's getting all the attention, so she grabs Killer and takes his soul out and kills him or something like that. And that would then lead Kid to have more motivation to take on Big Mom. And then Law, by effect, will probably be focusing more on Big Mom as well, although I think he will be a support role in helping everybody in this battle. Also, I do think Law has gotten stronger and should be able to showcase some new powers. But yeah, overall in this 5v2 battle, I ultimately think Killer is gonna die. Zoro and Luffy will be the ones really taking on Kaido, with Luffy being the one to defeat Kaido, and then you have Law in a support role, focusing more on Big Mom, and Kid fighting Big Mom as well. How does that battle turn out? I'm not completely sure right now. I'll save that for another video as well. And one thing you might be saying is like, this is not enough. It's not enough to take down both of these Yonko. Well, I don't think both of them necessarily have to go down here, but Kaido definitely has to. And I do think they currently have enough power to take out Kaido. Other people are definitely bound to arrive, but I think if big people show up like the Whitebeard Pirates or the Marines or Blackbeard, even somebody like that, I think that comes at the end of the fight when it's pretty much over. The only person I think might show up and actually make some sort of impact is Hawkins. Hawkins, I think, will become part of the Alliance and have his own big moment in this war where he turns and flips sides. Whether that's like delivering an attack or coming in clutch and doing something, I think he will be doing something like that. And you could do that in multiple ways, of like either Luffy like turning the odds around and him being shocked and now jumping to the Alliance side, or like a character development moment for Hawkins where he goes against the odds of the tarot cards and actually joins the Alliance despite the lower odds. Either way, I think he's gonna have a moment like that and help out the Alliance and switch sides. But overall, I do think this 5v2 is gonna pretty much stand, and if anything, it mainly becomes a 4v2 with Killer dying. Definitely let me know your thoughts below on how you think this fight will turn out. But with that said, let's move to the next matchup, and that is Marco versus King. Now recently, King has been getting a lot of slander, and that's because he really has not been doing much in terms of action. Sure, he's been commanding the forces, showing he's a capable capable general and all that. But so far in terms of fighting, he kind of traded blows a little bit with Sanji and then got headlocked by Marco. So the King slander has definitely risen a little bit, but I think he'll turn it all around and really showcase his true strengths. He's definitely the top commander of Kaido. I think based on his portrayal, that's pretty obvious. It could be interesting if Oda like flips it on his head and like King's actually not strong, but that just doesn't follow the pattern of the story. And like Kaido's crew is built on strength, there's no way King is weak. As far as Marco headlocking him and Queen last chapter, that was just a moment in this crazy war. It wasn't like a fight where Marco like choked both of them out and they passed out. We've overreacted many times to all these attacks. First we slept on Apu, then he knocked out Luffy, then we were like, okay, Apu's really strong, then Zoro slashes him, and then we're like, okay, Zoro one-shot Apu, and then Apu's fine. These are all just little tiny moments. The fights haven't actually happened. We can't judge their strength yet. And with that said, I do think King will be able to stack up against Marco in some degree. This will be a dope fight. Both of them could fly, both of them have zones. That's the other thing. I think King has so much more to showcase that there's no way Oda is just gonna make him weak. We haven't really seen his hybrid form and how capable he is in that form. He has a sword as well, but we really haven't seen him use it. Also, he's part of this mysterious race that's supposedly extinct. He's got fire coming out of his head, he's wearing a mask, he's got wings. There's a lot more to King's character, and there's definitely a lot more to his strength. And I think his bounty will definitely be higher than Queen's, whose bounty is higher than Katakuri's. And although bounty is not a measurement of strength, I don't think it's gonna be just for show. So I think this battle between King and Marco is gonna be a really dope battle, a very high level battle. But in the end, Marco will still come out on top, proving he's better than King. It's just that some people are sleeping on King way too much. I had to show some support to the dude. But yet Marco, also an incredibly capable person. We really haven't been able to see him in like a straight up 1v1 fight where he's not focusing on so many different things. Also, even if King is able to damage Marco, that will be pretty impressive. Because of Marco's crazy powers, not many people have been able to do that. It's only been Garp and Sea Stone. But yeah, I do expect this to be a very high level fight, but Marco coming out on top. The next one I have is Queen versus Sanji. Now, this is one that hasn't changed since my last prediction. And although these two haven't even come in contact with each other yet, I do think this is pretty much locked in. First off, Sanji's not fighting Black Maria. He's not hitting a girl. That's not changing. It would just completely go against his character and wouldn't make any sense. So he's definitely gonna need a new opponent. I think that's definitely gonna be Queen. First off, the Judge connection was kind of brought in there a little bit with Queen mentioning Judge before. It does seem like Queen is a cyborg and a scientist beyond just creating the plagues. So there could be a lot of interactions between these two with the Judge connection. Sanji maybe busting out the raid suit, and then that could lead to another conversation. We could learn more about Queen's backstory as well. How much of a scientist is he? Did he meet Vegapunk before? How did he join Kaido's crew? These things could all definitely get filled in with Sanji fighting Queen. On top of that, Queen just feels like a character that Sanji would fight, like a Duval / Bon Clay type of character. They both like women as well. I think it would lead to a lot of comedic moments too. So not only fight wise, but interaction wise, I'm really looking forward to this fight. But don't get me wrong, it's also gonna be a dope fight. Some people might use this to bag against Sanji because Zoro and Luffy are fighting a Yonko while Sanji is fighting a Yonko commander. But Queen's also very strong. He was able to handle Big Mom for a little bit and Udon. So Sanji winning a fight against Queen 1v1 would be very impressive. On top of that, I think this fight is kind of perfect for Sanji to really showcase and grow his strengths. We know Sanji's really fast. We know he has great observation haki, but one thing he really hasn't showcased too much of is attack power. And against a big boy like Queen, who's got this diesel ancient zone and is also a cyborg, Sanji's definitely gonna need to showcase more attack power, whether like things he's been hiding and hasn't showcased, or it could be a moment of armament haki blooming for him as well. I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think it's gonna have a lot of funny moments, a lot of great fighting scenes, and I think it's gonna be a great overall fight for Sanji. And now let's get to the last calamity, and that is Jack, and I think Jack will be fighting Yamato. I had some issues pairing these two up with matchups, and now I was like, wait, they could just fight each other. It kind of makes sense too, because Jack, last we saw him, he got bodied by the minks, but he did leave the dome. He was nowhere to be seen. So right now he's going after something else. And as we know, Jack, although he's been kind of goofed on, he's always thinking for the betterment of the crew, right? He's always after a new mission and a new objective. And right now Kaido has the top of the dome covered. He knows that. So what's the new objective? Well, the one thing they have to do is kill Momonosuke. So I'm guessing that's what Jack is after right now, and him going after Momonosuke would obviously lead to a confrontation with Yamato. And I think this could be a dope fight for numerous reasons. First off, just Jack and Momonosuke, their history there, I think they could expand on that even more. Jack was the person that attacked Zoe, and Momo kind of clapped back with Zunisha, but Momo knows how terrifying firsthand Jack is, and him being in a situation where he almost has to fight Jack, I think will definitely give him some opportunities to shine as well. But obviously Momo can't fight Jack, and the main fight will be Yamato versus Jack. And Yamato's strength is kind of hard to judge because she was just recently introduced, but based off what we saw with her against Sasaki, Sasaki definitely looked a little spooked when Yamato began transforming. So that leads me to believe that she's definitely a tier above the Tobiropo, but she hasn't really showcased anything else for me to put her above like the Calamities and like call her Kaido's ace up the sleeve. So her having a fight with Jack I think will be a really good measurement of her strength. Although Jack is injured, Yamato did also take some damage by tanking all those hits from Sasaki. So overall I think this fight will be a good fight for Yamato to really get some shine, finally transform, show us what that devil fruit is. Is it a white tiger, western dragon, whatever it is, I just want to see it. I don't think we'll spend a ton of time here at this battle because we've already seen a lot of Jack. At the same time though, he really hasn't had like a 1v1 proper fight either, so hopefully we'll get to see more of Jack's powers as well. His hybrid form, we haven't seen that either. But yeah, ultimately I do think Yamato comes out on top in this battle, and hopefully Momonosuke has his own dope moment as well. Also, if Yamato joins the Straw Hats, this is a great opportunity to kind of flesh out her strength and kind of put her in that hierarchy as well. But on to the next fight, we're getting to some of the Tobiropo now, and the first one is Who's Who versus Jinbe. Now this fight I did not see coming at all. I thought Who's Who was gonna fight Denjiro and Jinbe was gonna fight Smoothie. With Jinbe, I really thought he was gonna fight a Big Mom pirate or Big Mom herself to really give us like that background on what really happened after Luffy and gang left. But it looks like we're gonna get Jinbe versus Who's Who, which is gonna be a dope fight, cat versus fish. Usually the cat wins in that scenario, but I do think big boy Jinbe will win this battle. I'm just very excited to not only see Jinbe in action and really like us getting familiar with his moves and attacks, but also Who's Who is an incredibly interesting character. He seems to have some sort of history with Jinbe as well. He's wearing a mask as well, so he's definitely some sort of mysterious character. It's led to a lot of different speculations like he's Jin or a previous Shichibukai. I really don't have a good guess at what it is right now, though I don't think he's Jin. But let me know if you guys have any good theories on who Who's Who is. But yeah, this should be a very good fight. Who's Who is a very ambitious Tobiropo member. He seems like a pretty seasoned vet in the pirate game as well, so a perfect matchup for Jinbe really. Of course, I think Jinbe is gonna win, but it's gonna be a tough battle for sure. On to another battle that's pretty much locked in stone is Sasaki versus Franky. In my original predictions, I thought Sasaki was gonna fight Daifuku, a big shoulder boys battle, but Daifuku fell off the cliff, so that couldn't happen. But I did jump on the Sasaki versus Franky train pretty early, and that of course was due to the Kokoro and Sasaki theory. I made an entire video on that, so check that out, but this theory does have some legs. Like at first glance, it might just seem like they have the same hair color, but because of SBS information, there is more to it. So I actually think it's very much possible this fight doesn't end in the win for Franky or Sasaki, and Sasaki ends up turning an ally because of their previous connection. Now, as of right now, Franky is in his General Franky, so Sasaki doesn't recognize him, although I'm not sure he would even recognize Franky as he is right now. At the same time though, Franky has not recognized Sasaki, so maybe that means this theory isn't true, but that could also be easily explained with like how much time went by and how much they both changed in appearance. Either way though, I do think they're gonna like realistically go at it with each other for a good while. If the Kokoro thing comes true, I think they might end in a draw, so really showcasing both of their strengths and how strong they are, because Franky winning this fight straight up against Sasaki is kind of wild. Like Sasaki is a Tobiropo member in the same ranks of Who's Who and X Drake, and while Franky's very strong, him fighting a person of this caliber and like just straight up winning, that's a pretty big feat to accomplish. At the same time though, Franky is so diesel and he has so many weapons, it wouldn't feel wrong for him to win. So if Sasaki is not related to Kokoro, I could see Franky winning, but I feel like it might be more realistic for them to end in a draw and then somehow Sasaki gets turned and becomes an ally. Either way, I'm very excited for this fight. Franky hopefully showcasing off more weapons, not in a fight where he could only suplex people, and of course Sasaki showcasing his powers as well. But on to the next one, we have X Drake versus Apu, another fight that is going on already. Now this fight almost feels kind of unfair because Apu did get damaged by Zoro already, but we still don't know how much damage he took. I still think he'll be good enough to fight X Drake to a high difficulty. I do think X Drake will win this battle. Apu, as I mentioned in my last video, I feel like his story is really like a storytelling, a hotshot, arrogant supernova who caved to the power of the Yonko and gave up his loyalty and morals. And now he's gonna have to kind of pay the price for it. Because he gave up his own ambitions and catered to Yonko and betrayed people of his generation, now he's gonna get defeated by people of his own generation and watch people of his own generation take down the Yonko that he thought was impossible to defeat. And as much as I want to see Apu versus Brook, it really just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen anymore. For Brook, on the other hand, I think he will be teaming up with Robin to fight Black Maria. Now originally I thought it was just gonna be Robin versus Black Maria, but it's been a wake-up call of how strong these Tobiropo members are. Also, Brook is going with Robin right now, and I don't see where else he could split off and separate into his own fight. So I think these these two will arrive obviously to Sanji to free him so he could go fight Queen, and then these two will have their team up fight against Black Maria. And although I wanted 1v1s for the Straw Hats, this is a lot more realistic. Robin or Brook are very strong, but against somebody like a Toby Ropo, them teaming up would make more sense. Also, there's like people surrounding Black Maria as well, so Brook could kind of handle them and help there. But overall, this would be a dope fight. Robin and Black Maria in a full fight together, them two being on the same panel, that is a blessing from heaven. Giganto Manos against like an actual giant spider, that's gonna be dope. Brook also defeated a spider back in Thriller Bark, so that could be some foreshadowing as well. Either way, I'm incredibly interested for this fight, not only to see more of Brook, but Robin. Please, Oda, do not neglect this fight. Do not neglect Robin. Let her really shine and show her powers. At the very least, I think the anime would do it justice, but I can't wait to see Robin really showcase their powers in an actual serious fight. This is definitely one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most because of how deprived we've been of Robin action. But on to the final members of the Toby Ropo with Page 1 and Ulti. I still think they're gonna fight against Nami and Usopp, but with Tama included. I guess you could say I got this right from my last video. I said Usopp versus Page 1, Nami versus Ulti, but quickly I got a wake up call and a reality check that these two are not ready to fight them straight up. So they weren't quite ready to just take them on straight up, but I do think these two will come back. They took a lot of damage already. Nami almost died, and Usopp, as we saw, turned into crackhead Usopp, but they did get rescued by Tama, and now Tama has some sort of plan. And first off, I gotta say I completely underestimated Tama. I did not expect her to come to this war, but she's proven to be very capable. It seems like she has some sort of plan as well. Now, I don't think she's gonna be able to tame zones. I'm still fully against the idea. To me, I think her ability is still just to tame animals, and the reason it works on gifters and headliners is because those small devil fruits were developed using, I believe it's the lineage factor. So those devil fruits were developed using like DNA from actual animals. Devil fruits, on the other hand, we really don't know what the actual science behind them is. So I think it'll be deeper than that, and Tama won't be able to control them. Also, a devil fruit countering an entire category of devil fruits, that's very OP. Blackbeard might be going after Tama next. So the TTK, Tama taming Kaido, I'm not on that train. However, Tama has impressed me a lot. I do think she has a good plan in play. I think she'll figure out a way to get them more subordinates, get them a lot more help. And I do think Usopp and Nami come back, and with different schemes and with Tama's help, are gonna be able to defeat Ulti and Page 1. Now, power-wise, you might not think that makes sense, but Usopp and Nami, think about like what they really represent. They're like the two human characters within the Straw Hats that we could actually relate to, like people not on like a monster scale of strength, but at the same time in tough fights, they're always able to come through with their resilience and bravery, and on top of that, their battle tactics. So I think it'll be a similar case here of them able to win against Ulti and Page 1 despite the huge power difference. And it won't be a power up for them per se, it will just be mostly like them figuring out a way to win. Some of the fights in One Piece that I've been most hyped about have been Nami and Usopp fights. Usopp defeating a fishman in Arlong Park, Nami winning against Miss Doublefinger and Khalifa. Those are fights that I thought they couldn't win either, but these two always pull through somehow. So in this fight against Ulti and Page 1, I think they'll figure it out and win the battle as well. And I'm always down for dope Nami and Usopp moments, so another fight I'm very excited for. But next, we also have another established fight, and that is Carrot and Wanda versus Perospero. Now, in my last video, I kind of guessed this as well with Carrot versus Perospero, but honestly, I'm not really sure how this fight is gonna turn out. They were able to slash up like his face, but like Sulong form, 3 minutes, I don't know if that's enough time. Perospero, also a very capable person, we definitely cannot sleep on him. I think it could really go either way. It could be a wake-up call for Carrot and Perospero goes off and does some other mission for the Big Mom Pirates, or this is a defining moment for Carrot and she's able to like kind of overcome her shortcomings and defeat Perospero. I do think this is like the do or die for Carrot becoming a Straw Hat. I think if she loses here and doesn't really get a lot of shine, I think the Carrot for Straw Hat train might be coming to a stop. We have jumped away from this fight for a very long time, so it might already be over. And if that's the case, I don't think Carrot's gonna join the Straw Hats. But if Oda does give some more time to this fight and develop Carrot more, I do think it helps her case even more. So I'm definitely looking forward to this fight for numerous reasons. And finally, on to the last matchup I have, and that is Orochi and his men versus the Scabbards and the Samurai. Now, this might be a weird matchup because I'm talking about a supposedly dead man and a group of people that are already defeated, but I think this will be a fight that will be going on in the background and another low-key fight that is happening. I don't think Orochi is dead, I don't think Kanjuro is dead, I think they will both be coming back and doing their own mission. What that mission is right now, I'm still not completely sure of. I'll save that for another video, I guess. But I do think they do come back during this war. Last we did see Fukurokuju kind of sneak off and do his own thing, and if they were to come back, I think the Scabbards would be the perfect opponent opponents for them. The Scabbards did get a lot of shine against Kaido, but we still should see more from some of the Scabbards like Izo, Denjiro, Ashura Doji. There's still plenty of more room for them to get more fights, and although they are heavily injured, it might make them the perfect opponents for somebody like Orochi and Kanjuro, and like Fukurokuju and the Oniwabanshu and also Hote. And obviously these two groups have a lot of beef, so it would be a perfect matchup there as well. Now as far as Orochi's men versus the samurai, Orochi's men obviously outnumber the samurai by a lot, so that's something that's not really going to get resolved until the war is over and Kaido is defeated. But all in all, I do think the Scabbards getting teleported to safety does mean they will have another role in this war, and it will likely be taking care of Orochi and his men. And that's all the matchups I have. There are some unaccounted for people that you might have noticed. First off, Chopper, the only Straw Hat that's missing in these matchups. Oda always neglects Chopper. Have I neglected him too as well? No, I did not forget about Chopper, but you tell me, who is Chopper gonna fight? There's nobody else that's really fitting for Chopper, so I really do think Chopper's just gonna be a combat doctor in this war. He's gonna be fighting some of the Beast Pirates, probably some of the remaining numbers as well. A Monster Point versus a number could be cool for a bit, but he's not really gonna be fighting any big names in my opinion. But I do think he's gonna get a lot more focus as a doctor, healing these plagues, and also of course fixing the smile problem as well. I'm still dying to see a Chopper 1v1, so hopefully we'll see that in the next arc. And then the last unaccounted for group I think is the Big Mom Pirates, and I actually don't think they're gonna come back up top and get involved in the fights. I think they'll have a bigger role to play with what happens with Big Mom, and I'm gonna save that for another video. But yeah, overall those are all my final Wano War matchup predictions on what's gonna happen in those fights. Do you agree or disagree? Did I forget anybody? Let me know your Wano matchups in the comments below. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. If you want to keep up to date with this channel, you gotta hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. Thank you to all my King Pirates Elite members for all your support. If you guys want to interact with your fellow crewmates, King Pirates Discord in the description. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm DKing4, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.